Just like most of us, you already have a sequencer or two in your system. Surprisingly though, chance is that you have one more than you think. It is a special kind of trigger sequencer. I call it a forgotten sequencer. And it is there, right in front of your eyes. This trigger sequencer is special in that it is pitch sensitive. But the nice thing is that this sensitivity is partly under your control. And this kind of trigger sequencer opens up yet another way of making melodies, rhythms, timing of events in your rack, etc., etc. It's yet another way. What you're hearing is a subtle use of this kind of trigger sequencing. If you listen carefully, you can hear that pitch and tempo are interconnected. I say it is a forgotten trigger sequencer because I assume that everything has already been discovered. And speaking about forgotten techniques and forgotten ways of doing stuff, there's just too much to keep every kind of technique fresh in memory. In the memory of a particular culture, the subculture of Eurorack or modular enthusiasts. Well, here's a demonstration of how to implement such a trigger sequencer. I made the system as small as possible for this particular demonstration. Now let's set it up. As you can see, the VCO goes into the mold, red cable. Then a copy is sent to the filter, white cable. Another copy is sent to the VCA. The output from the filter is sent directly into the sequential switch, the output from which will be a single high voltage, taken from the attenuator, the best attenuator in Eurorack, in my opinion, 321 by Fraptools. The sequential switch sends this trigger voltage to the clock divider. The latter, in this particular patch, clocks both the envelope and the sample and hold. Note that I, in this particular patch, use more than one output to clock the envelope, but just one, a faster clock, to trigger the sample and hold. The fun part of Eurorack, of modular in general, is that there is so much to be discovered at every turn, so please mess this patch up and make a discovery. I use a very simple method here because I would like to present the idea as clearly as possible. Now let's make a few more connections and listen to what we've got. Now let's change the filter cutoff. The filter is now in low pass mode, and you can hear and see that the number of triggers change drastically. Now let's change the filter type to band pass. Let's look at a different example where I use Variegate 4 Plus, a pitch sequencer, instead of sample and hold. Why not map all the triggers onto a step sequencer? This will serve a visual purpose, a demonstration of how the triggers evolve, how pitch is related to tempo, and it is a demonstration of how you can make a workaround to activate precisely those triggers you want. I have a pad going from 4MS ensemble oscillator. I have steppy as a step sequencer, and I have divided the clock on the steppy so that 64 steps will cover the duration of the pad. Now, when steppy activates a step, this step creates a trigger, and this trigger goes into the warp input on the 4MS ensemble oscillator, creating a lush high frequency effect. Let's listen to this effect. One more time. Now I will activate all the steps that I think is necessary to create this desired effect. The steps that are active will be green, and you will see how the pad evolves and how the pitch and tempo correlate. I call this makeshift trigger sequencer a contextual trigger sequencer. The reason being that the triggers are derived from the music itself and influence the context, the music that is. You could say that the trigger sequencer is somewhat self-referential. Instead of my simple filter, why not try one that has more features and more CV inputs, like for example VMD aperture or ADAC 603, a voltage controlled bandpass filter, just to mention two. I hope these demonstrations have sparked your curiosity and your lust to explore this field. If you liked the video, consider giving it a like, because the YouTube algorithms are crushing. I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye.